Evet, herkese alıyorum şu an.
Okay. Can I start, Berke?
Sure,
Okay.
why not?
Okay, hello everyone. I am the Vice President of GELTS, Ezgi Dinç. We will welcome Professor Dr. Kemal Sinan Özmen together with you at our event today. How are you, Hocam? I hope you're good.
Thank you, Ezgi. Thank you. I'm okay. I hope you're doing good as well.
Yes, thank you. Before we start, I would like to give information about Professor Dr. Kemal Sinan Özmen. Kemal Sinan Özmen serves as a professor of applied linguistics and teacher education in English language teaching program at Gazi University. His research mainly focuses on teacher cognition, beliefs about language learning and teaching, as well as identity development of student teachers. He published widely in international journals, research congresses, and publication houses. He also serves as the editor-in-chief to the Journal of Language Teaching and Learning, an international journal index in Web of Science. In addition to his academic works, Dr. Özmen is a novelist affiliated to Bilgi Yayınevi and is publishing fiction books and short stories. And now we look forward to hearing from you, Dr. Özmen. The stage is yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ezgi. Thank you very much for your warm welcome. Of course, thank you very much for your invitation. GELTS under Phoenix Talks, I'm quite privileged to be here. And as a part of the program, of the Gazi ELT program, I'm quite happy to see that you are collaborating together to, create venues and context to welcome academicians or the colleagues for talking about our profession. Thank you very much once again, guys, everybody. Well, before talking about teaching as a performing art, let me take attendance. I can see many names that I know. Hi, Deniz, Dilara is here. Işıl Hocam is here from our program. I see Nurullah many years ago, a very beloved teacher of ours. Okay, and Şevval is also here. I'm sure I'm going to take another attendance. Apologies, guys, we are a little bit late because of the technical problems, but I'm sure you might be empathizing with us. Okay, thank you very much. So, well, this is a topic that I've been working on it for quite a long time. Teaching as a performing art. It's a very difficult question to answer. Teaching as a profession, should it be discussed under scientific inquiry or should it be discussed under any artistic domains or maybe both? Tonight, basically speaking, you're going to have a theoretical tour with me and answer these two questions that I believe are quite important. Well, before walking into the details of the discussion, let's ask two questions. And I want you to remember those questions throughout the discussion that I'm going to offer to you. Should teacher education restrict itself to the following the letter of the law, the scientific research, or should its scope be broadened to include the spirits of the law, the aesthetic disciplines? What is teaching? How can we define teaching? Guys, of course, anything existent, non-existent can be scrutinized, can be analyzed in terms of scientific inquiry, anything. However, the question is, which of the umbrella term is more encompassing for the teaching profession? Tonight, I'm going to show you what it means to be a teacher from an artistic, from an aesthetic perspective. To this end, here is my map of the presentation. First of all, I'm going to go a little bit shallow, maybe talk about the common grounds of teaching and arts. And then we're going to talk about the function of drama within English language teaching, or maybe teaching in general. I'm going to refer to certain important research studies that might be of interest for you. Then I'm going to ask some questions that are completely uncharted in terms of research, in terms of the review of literature. And then I'm going to give you some suggestions to student teachers, to teachers, to colleagues. to benefit from arts as a language teacher? Okay, well, arts or science? Sorry for some spellings because I had to change the slides and we have this big eyes. I'm sorry. Well, basically speaking, when I was first reading about this literature, I came to see that some scientifically famous researchers talks about teaching as an art. Look at here. Okay, most of those who teach indeed often regard their own teaching as an artistic activity. Well, when you define your teaching, you define yourself as an artist. But what about doing research? Then you say it's no art, let's do rigorous qualitative and quantitative studies. That's interesting. Well, in the first place, in second language teacher education, we define teaching. We know what teaching is. We identify models. We have strategies to educate teachers. We have approaches. We have methodologies for teaching. Even if we have hundreds of what to do lists, like commandments that we offer teachers to do or not to do. Ladies and gentlemen, I had also talked about those ultra, hyper, superb what to do lists. If you're a student teacher, it's most likely that you're going to listen to those suggestions. Look at here, please. Every methodology professor will tell you to use your voice and body language effectively. Sinan, you gotta use your voice and body language effectively. All right, ma'am. Sir, yes, sir. Huh? Well, in the classroom, eye contact is very important. However, after 3 seconds, emotional transfer begins, so watch out. Another what to do list, another item of what to do list. Or your methodology professor will tell you, well, Sinan, in the practicum, in your classroom, you have to look confident, but not threatening. Okay, I'm going to look confident, but not threatening. I'm going to do that, right? And I'm going to get my students to feel that I am for, but not against them. Ladies and gentlemen, look into this list. You're going to hear hundreds of these in a teacher education program as a student teacher. Maybe in in-service education, then you are a teacher on the job. What to do, what to do, what to do. But when it comes to acting, you're going to ask this question. Well, how to do it? Okay, I mean, how am I going to use my body language effectively? Okay, how am I going to look confident but not threatening? Okay, how to use my body language effectively? All right, basically speaking, knowing what does not secure knowing how. In this respect, what we know for sure about teaching is that teaching is not like a mechanical chemical reaction. Okay, you do whatever you do with people in a classroom, as real as you, as important as you, lives you're touching, lives you're interacting with. So you cannot just do it by formulas. Then what we need then? We need something else, huh? Otherwise, if you do just move with the what to do lists, then you come up with some kind of a mechanical lesson with the students, the communication, the interaction, and the bond that you have created with the students will be very shallow, huh? So here comes teaching as a performing art. If you would like to go a little bit further than what to do lists that we teach in a teacher education program, try to be a good listener, try to be someone who is patient, who is empathetic. As you can see in teacher education programs, we are talking about an identity. But I'm sorry, if you are going to study an identity, then you have to rehearse the identity. Does it ring any bell, rehearsing an identity? Does it make any sense? Okay, so in this respect, actors, just like teachers, we evoke, we get in touch with people with certain emotional bonds. So we are like 30 people here. Think about a teacher you love. When you like a teacher, you like the content. When you hate the teacher, you hate the lesson at the same time, See, it's not a chemical reaction, it's something else. So why do we need an acting teacher then? What do I talk about? Basically speaking, in the methodology courses, we do not offer an identity development. I'm not talking about my methodology courses, but generally speaking, we teach people certain list of behaviors, but they have little or no chance to rehearse the difference between Ezgi and Ezgi Hoca, or I don't know, Mustafa and Mustafa Hoca. We don't give people chance to develop certain identities. We need acting teachers because just like acting, teaching is all about creating an atmosphere in the classroom, making people believe, making people be inspired, making people feel secure so that learn. And creating an atmosphere, believe me, an expert is talking, is difficult, okay? I believe that I was able to do with, shaping the atmosphere of the classroom. That requires a lot of acting knowledge, okay? So, to me, teaching is a play, and you're the actor, actress, teachers. Different from actors and actresses, teachers do not rehearse, but we improvise. We teach with the aesthetics aspects of communication. I'm going to talk about them. So, teaching is artistic, just like acting. It is spontaneous and unpredictable. You never know what's going to happen in the classroom, okay? Hocam ders planım yürümedi, but my lesson plan didn't work. Of course, your lesson plan will not work. If it works, it's not a lesson plan. Remember, it's a plan. It's not the destiny of future. You're not writing the future, huh? Just like acting, teaching, it can be described certain aesthetic norms and criteria. Okay, the good performing teaching, of course, can be defined through certain aesthetic criteria. Just like teaching and just like acting, you cannot detach your performance from the audience. I mean, on the stage, you need audience. In the classroom, you need students. Last week I was in the school, I walked into a classroom and I said, I cannot do anything here. I need students, right? I cannot perform my play here because I need people to get in touch with and communicate. Well, just like acting, teaching also acts out a text. It is your lesson plan. It's your objective. It is your hidden curriculum, huh? It is your Milli Eğitim Bakanlığı program. Just like acting, it's same. And teaching appeals to emotions. You're not going to learn somebody whom you don't trust. You're not going to learn from somebody who you don't respect, okay? Who you feel insecure or who you find irritating at all. Just like acting, to act is to react, to teach is to react, okay? So in this respect, there is a reason to define teaching from aesthetic perspectives. Hakikaten, are there any aesthetic perspectives of teaching or artistic perspectives? But I've been talking about art and acting, artistic, but what's art, arkadaşlar? I'm going to give you a very simple definition, but if you would like to go further, of course you can read. Believe me, this is by far the best definition by Aristotle. Here it is for you. Art is the aesthetical expression of reality, nothing more. You're writing a novel, you're aesthetically expressing the reality. You're playing the guitar, you're a poet, you're an artist, you're a teacher, or you're a dancer, you're doing the same job. You're expressing the reality with the aesthetic norms. So, for art, for an actor, aesthetics would be the voice, the body language, and the acting capabilities, huh? But what about us? What is aesthetic in the classroom? It's the teacher's communication. I mean, if you are talking in this, okay, guys, now you're going to open page 5, and you're going to look into the second activity. I mean, if you're doing this, you're going to kill people out of boredom, huh? What is our reality in the classroom? Obviously, our reality is language. We express language in the classroom. Our expression tool is the methodology. So, I mean, if you really push, I mean, crazily, if you really push, you can find the relation between communicative language teaching and Aristotle, okay? So as you can see, this is actually what we do in the classroom. So what's art? It's nothing but a language, but stronger, more effective and universal. And why stronger? Why more universal? Because human languages appeals to cognition, but artistic languages appeals to emotion. You can tell people, arkadaşlar, life is beautiful. You're having coffee. You know, Berke, life is beautiful. And Berke says, okay, but if you write a novel showing people life is beautiful, or if you have a movie, La Vita Bella, then people will feel what you mean by life is beautiful. So different from human languages, art directly appeals to emotions of the people. However, it never suggests, it never orders, it never dictates. It's not didactic at all. It is always suggesting, always implicit, always humanistic, and always seeking perfection. Okay, so performing arts, including drama, it's all about creating an atmosphere. If you would ask me who is a performer teacher, I would say if you walk out the teacher's classroom, and if you feel okay, if you feel inspired, if you feel safe, if you have certain ambition about future, then you have seen an acting teacher, okay? Otherwise, very difficult. And finally, what's art? In order to observe the atmosphere in the classroom, what is happening in my classroom and what should be happening in my classroom, to walk this distance, to bridge the gap between what is happening and what should be happening, you need to be a performer. You need to be an actor or an actress. So, why exactly do we need this in English language teaching? Guys, we do know that there are two versions of drama. One, almost everybody knows, drama as a foreign language teaching technique. You can use drama for young learners, for adolescents, for adults. You can teach grammar. You can teach whatever you want to teach in the classroom. Obviously, this sort of drama is a teaching technique. But the drama I am talking about is a teacher skill, teacher competency, okay? It's a teacher's capability, not a teaching technique. There is a difference. So basically tonight, I'm talking about drama as a teacher or teaching skill. I'm sure everybody knows Piaget, right? Famous Jean Piaget, cognitivist constructivist Jean Piaget, famous guy. It's by way of communication that art becomes an incomparable organ of instruction, but the way is so removed from that usually associated with education. So I have always been thrilled, guys, to find out that such positivist researchers, I mean, Piaget, one of the establishers of the modern educational sciences, talks about teaching something like an artistic profession rather than more like a, scientific area for inquiry. So that's been quite impressive in my thinking. So let's finish with Elliot Eisner says, just like actors, we attempt to communicate with group of people and we have the audience like situation, and both the actor and actress and the teacher employ more or less the same qualities to enhance communication. Ladies and gentlemen, it's all about that. It's all about enhancing communication. I spent half an hour to do this. Isn't that beautiful? Look at here. Would you like me to do that again? See, it's beautiful, right? Yeah. So just you can look at that, no problem. I did it for you. So yeah, as you can see, it's all about enhancing communication. But what do we mean by enhancing communication? Arkadaşlar, outside the classroom. You must have heard about it. Experts estimate that at least 30, 75, somebody says 70, somebody says 65. I haven't seen any accurate yet about this, but something like 65% of the meaning in any social context is conveyed non-verbally. But look at the classroom. In the classroom, the impact of non-verbal communication is around 80%. Then why? Why it's more important in the classroom? Well, thanks God, I did a research about it and find out it. The reason is this. In the classroom, most of the verbal and non-verbal communication is filtered from the teacher. When you talk to your friend, you look into the teacher. When you do something, you just watch the teacher. So in the classroom, non-verbal communication becomes heavily important. Okay, non-verbal communication is important in the classroom on the teacher's side. But how about teachers? What do they know about non-verbal communication? A very interesting research study by Jeremy Armour, 2007. Look at here. He basically recorded 100 language teachers. Then they sat together with those teachers one by one, and they watched the teachers' performance. And the teachers basically gave some reflections, remarks about their own performance. And the result is devastating. Only 8 of 100 teachers were aware or consciously using their nonverbal communication. What about the rest? What is happening? You know why this is like 8% of teachers are aware? The reason is this. As an English teacher, former English teacher, I can tell you this. When you are in the classroom, you constantly have a plan in your mind. You are in the pre-part, you have to do a smooth transition to while, now you're doing reading, you must do context checking, you must do concept checking. Oh God, you have another matching activity. Your brain is constantly fighting with a lesson plan. At the same time, you're orchestrating the classroom, right? Some buddies are killing the others and you must manage the classroom. And at the same time, you must monitor the classroom, give feedback. As you can see, teachers do not have time, or they are not emotionally enough educated to spend any time on nonverbal communication. Guys, this requires training, okay? This requires training. So I find it very interesting. I mean, nonverbal communication is everything in the classroom, but teachers are not aware of nonverbal communication flow in the classroom, okay? And when it comes to defining teaching, in 2001, and quite a recent one for social sciences, 8 quotations that define teaching and acting, teaching in terms of acting versus scientific inquiry were offered to prominent scholars, okay? Those 8 quotations define teaching. And among those 300 people, 287 chose the definition that defines teaching as an artistic profession, okay? But why don't we do this? I mean, why don't we teach student teachers certain aesthetic dynamics of acting, stage knowledge, using voice effectively, using body language effectively, how to establish good communication in the classroom. Basically speaking, maybe guys, you're not interested, but I'm going to tell you something very interesting. Today, in teacher education, there is a crisis. The crisis comes from many sources, but I'm going to talk about 2 variables. This macro, big crisis is about the idea or the problem that teacher education programs cannot offer 2 things to student teachers. 1, a strong teacher identity, okay? 2, strong academically oriented beliefs about language learning and teaching. Most of the research shows that student teachers imitate their primary and secondary school teachers when they embark on the profession. Okay, how about methodology courses? This big crisis is quite a real one that we go through in second language teacher education. Now I'm going to ask you a question. You cannot develop identities for student teachers? Well, I'm sorry, it's not your job. It's acting's job to have people think about themselves, think about their future selves, and rehearse an identity, okay? Beyond what to-do lists of what Sinan should do in the classroom, all right? So when it comes to studies on acting and teaching, there are certain theories. I benefited from Stanislavski's acting methodology. You may not know this, but you know the actors who follow the methodology, acting methodology. They call it the method. Okay, they have only one method and they call it the method. For example, one prominent actor is Ian McKellen, uses the acting method of Stanislavski. Okay, no matter what he plays, you love him. Right? Or Robert De Niro or Al Pacino still uses the method by Stanislavski. However, I do believe that if you really do not offer people some acting classes, this will remain theoretical, another what to do list. So we need practices of teaching through rehearsals. And I believe at Gazi University as a program, we are doing a lot of rehearsals in certain methodology courses where student teachers teach, you know, language skills, grammar, vocabulary, pronunciation teaching, integrated teaching. I believe those can be turned into certain rehearsals, or at least this is what I am trying to do in my own methodology courses. Well, Widdowson is one of the, Henry Widdowson is one of the greatest thinkers and philosophers of English language teaching, applied linguistics and linguistics. He was in School of London, now he is teaching in the University of Vienna as an emeritus professor. Basically, he says, you might read it for yourself, that I can shut up for a minute. We are not technology. Okay, seeking to exploit the findings of science, but rather we are trying to do something. Oh, sorry, wrong button. We are trying to do something else, just like Widdowson said. We have a play script, we call it syllabus, and we have a performance job, we call it acting or teaching. Basically, what we propose for the second language teacher education is that we have to get student teachers to think about their professional identities, to think about such questions. Can we lead language teachers to an awareness on nonverbal communication? And believe me, most of them, as an observer, I've been observing teachers, hundreds of them over the last 10 years, okay, in private schools, in state schools, at Gazi University. People are generally tense when they are teaching, and when they are tense, they look very negative, you know, very warrior-like face on their eyes. But I can see that she is just scared, nothing more. But students don't see it. Students see somebody very angry. Huh? Our teachers systematically taught on the nature and dynamics of nonverbal communication. We should, huh? Do you think that current second layer teacher education programs help our student teachers develop, encode and decode right nonverbal messages? Hardly. I believe hardly. Okay. So, if anybody here would like to study this field, the first thing is that, as I did, and I did this in my doctoral dissertation and some of my research articles. Nowadays, I can say we have already framed the theory of teaching and teaching as a performing art. I mean, when I was writing my dissertation 12 years ago, the literature was scarce, but nowadays, thanks God, we have paced this way. Schools of education reorganized their programs. Well, we did this at Gazi University. We had a drama course, and in 2008 and 9, I and Jemoja, we tried hard to put this lesson into syllabus, and thanks God we still have this lesson in their teaching after pandemics. Of course, you cannot teach acting online. Yeah. Is the current picture of teaching literature shaped by the current understanding of research methods conventions or just the contemporary stance of the scholars? Well, basically speaking, I'm going to tell you something. Most of the most of the people in teacher education who believe that teaching is artistic may be afraid of teaching studies or studying teaching as an art. Basically, they don't know what art is. They haven't got any acting experience. Okay, they are not authors, they are not novelists, they're not directors, whatever. So there is this distance, or there is this people eschew from studying acting. But I don't know. I mean, if you're doing an MA or PhD, why not doing yet another study for this? Basically speaking, teaching and acting are all about being a good observer and being able to manipulate the atmosphere in the classroom, okay? Seeing what is happening in the classroom and being able to change the classroom. So, but what are those variables? We still don't know. I call that classroom atmosphere, okay? But what are the dynamics of classroom atmosphere? We still don't know. How do people get inspired by you as a teacher? We still don't know, okay? There is this synesthesis, all right? There is this some sort of mechanics of communication that we haven't defined yet, okay? Why don't you define it in your MA degree, not MA, PhD, okay? Identifying certain acting techniques to be used for ELT classes. But if you find my doctoral thesis in York, I have developed 25 activities, and we were doing that at Gazi University years ago, but we need more, okay? More specific acting techniques for teachers, okay? And yeah, I have already mentioned that, but when it comes to effects of nonverbal communication in teaching, we really still do not know what it means to be conscious in nonverbal communication. Arkadaşlar, there are some actors and actresses, no matter what part they play, you love them. He is the villain, you like him, her. He is the bad guy, you still like him, because they have this nonverbal immediacy spirit, okay? You know, in Turkish they say şeytan to you, but this şeytan to you is something that is about the consciousness of nonverbal communication. Do we know this? Still we don't know them, okay? Still we don't know. We have guesses, all right? Yeah, I have already mentioned more or less those things. Okay, finally, I'm going to finish with the uncharted territory, and my research suggestions would be certain nonverbal and non-linguistic communication strategies for classrooms, okay? What exactly student teachers do, or I should do in the classroom. Still, we need some books, we need some research studies, we need some activities, some classroom use, teacher education, classroom use materials in this respect. All right, well, I talked a lot, but I have some suggestions for you, student teachers, for you, teachers, young teachers. I mean, even if you are experienced. So what am I going to do individually? Okay. When I was a student teacher, I found out that university education will bring me to somewhere, but not somewhere that I, you know, aspire to be. So be your own teacher, be your own professor. So for this, I have some suggestions for you. When we say art or acting, remember that you cannot do this without filling your life with art. So no art, no human, no teacher, okay? please read poetry. Okay, the heart of good communication is poetry. If you don't know poetry, you're not going to become a good communicator in the classroom. Mark my words. But it's not enough. I mean, benefit from all of the dimensions of artistic fields. I mean, benefit from good music, good films, good novels, okay? Maybe local novels, novelists, or you can go for watching a lot of theater plays. And study on your voice. I don't know if anybody here playing guitar or any musical instrument. The voice is just like a musical instrument. It takes 2 or 3 years to develop. And you need to study at least 15 or 20 minutes a day. How are you going to do that? Thanks God we have YouTube. You can just open certain YouTube videos. People are showing you how to rehearse your voice and voice control. Believe me, YouTube is enough for practice. But remember, it doesn't happen overnight. At least 2 years. Okay, just like learning the guitar. If you can use your voice, you're going to become a very good teacher. If you can take acting classes, I suggest Çağdaş Drama Derneği, Çağdaş Drama Derneği, or many amateur or semi-professional theaters in Ankara, Izmir, in Bursa. We have Nilüfer Belediyesi for theater. Please take at least for 3 or 4 months acting classes. Okay. Watch high quality films and theater plays, but I'm not trying to mean here Avengers, okay? I'm meaning better movies, all right? So learn about classical music a lot. It's going to help you think better and read real literature, real fiction to the poems. That would be my humble suggestion. And arkadaşlar, I'm trying to make it as concise as I can, so that people may, want to ask questions. So this is all. In conclusion, I can say I cannot think about a classroom without acting knowledge. A personal anecdote. When I first started teaching in 2003, and I was a good methodology student at Gazi University, and I had good professors. I was very lucky. But guys, I was very surprised to find out that most of what I do in my classroom did not come from my training in the department, but came from my training on the stage as a director, actor, or theater person. Here, I'm not trying to say methodology is bad, or of course you need to know English, methodology, you need to know linguistics, you need your education. But to stand strong in front of students, I was benefiting from acting. So I don't believe that there is any other way to become a good teacher without having some knowledge of acting or teaching as a performing art. And as a final remark, in the department, you're going to learn lots of teaching, and you're going to learn some of hows of teaching. But if you would like to go further, please take some acting classes, and please try to study on your voice as much as you can. Well, thank you very much for listening to me, everybody. You can reach me anytime on email, or you can just find me at Gazi University whenever you want to. Thank you, Ezgi. This is all I would like to share. If there are any questions or any comments, I would like to cooperate.
Okay, thank you very much for the presentation, Hocam. I think many of us learned new things today, and I think there are probably those who have questions. We are kept the chat box closed for this part because of some security reasons. And now we are going to question and answer part. For everyone, you can ask your questions both through the chat box or by raising your hands and asking for unmute. If you have any questions, now we are in the question and answer part. Okay.
Kemal Hocam, I would like to thank you for your invaluable contributions. Was there a question? If I interrupted you, sorry.
No, there is no question.
Okay. Surely arts will be an important tool in our arsenal in order to understand both ourselves and our students, hopefully, in the future. So it was really invaluable. Thank you for your efforts and your presentation, honestly, and giving your time.
Thank you very much. Well, it's been a pleasure for me to be with you tonight, and thank you, and see you, everybody. Thank you very much, Ezgi, for your hosting, amazing hosting.
Thank you, Hocam.
We have very thank yous, and Melih says, thinking the classroom as a theater surely helps. He says that.
Okay. And I have an old friend here, Esra Önder. Ya seni burada. Yeah, good to see you, Esra. Haha, Sinan metod dersinde de geliyor. Yes, Esra, you can also join my methodology courses if you want to. All right. Now, Ezgi, we have a happy Esra here. I guess that's all. Thank you very much, arkadaşlar. It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure. All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Hocam. Take care, everyone. Thank you, Hocam. Hopefully see you next year, face to face.
Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.
And Ezgi, thank you for your moderation. And everyone,
you're welcome.
Everyone, take care. Till next time, and good luck with your finals. And take care.